Coalition for Responsible Sex Ed. We've been working together for 9+ years to make sure that the students of Minnesota gain access to real sex education in the schools. 9 years is too many years. Let's make it this year that we get responsible sex education in the schools, right?
It's so motivating to see all of you here today, knowing that you take the same pride in standing up for something so crucial to our education as responsible sex ed. I know what it's like to be taught without sex ed, responsible sex ed. When I was in middle school, it came time for our singular supposed sex ed lesson. This is what it looks like. 4 different classrooms filed into our school's auditorium to watch a 20-minute video describing abstinence as the only ethical option. The video also described that if a person were to have sex, STIs were inevitable. I began to wonder what other things my teacher had misinformed us on and how many of my peers were still carrying around that information. I became mortified when I began to think on a larger scale. How many schools are allowing this kind of sexuality education to go on? It is imperative that today we ask our representatives to support responsible sex education. Without us being here today to speak with them, they won't know or hear how we feel. As teens, we are the ones who are affected most, and it's our turn to speak up for what we believe in and speak up for ourselves and our future. Today, we are raising our voices and raising awareness.
When I first heard that 1 in 4 teenage girls in the U.S. has an STI, I was stunned. At the time, I could not believe that any statistic that dramatic would be true. That unbelievable number means that 8 girls in my small high school class of 56 must have an STI. The fact that this statistic probably does not hold true among my fellow students at Mount Park Academy seems to be a testament to the effectiveness of the comprehensive sexual education we have access to at MK since the 7th grade. However, when thinking about the inadequacy of sexual education that the average teenager in the U.S. receives, it is no longer so hard to imagine that that statistic is true. Comprehensive sexual education is needed in all of Minnesota's high schools. Without it, statistics such as that 1 in 4 teenage girls in the U.S. have an STI will continue to climb.
I want to thank each one of you guys for taking the time, having the commitment to come show your support to pass this bill this year. It's about time. It has been 8 years for myself. However, my first 6 years quarantine was the bill hurt. And so it's really been more than feeling a good thing to have this bill last year and this year. But guess what? It won't get passed without your help. There's this quote that Mary McLeod, the Queen, said. Now, I know she didn't intend to talk about sex education, but I like it anyway. She once said, we have a powerful potential in our youth, and we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices so that we may direct their power towards good ends. So just because it's something that we don't want to talk about, just because we may have a good relationship with our young people, not to understand that all young people don't have that good relationship with a loving adult, that all young people aren't comfortable going home to their parents, that even with our young people that have a solid relationship, they still may not be comfortable telling their mom that, look, I was pressured tonight to have sex. There has to be some source that we can give you some solid information with local control in the bill, making sure that it's information that your community can handle, that understanding that this is not a South Minneapolis issue, that understanding that adequate information to prevent STIs, teen pregnancy, abusive relationships, giving you the sources that you need and the resources to get you through adulthood and be good taxpayers is all I want. I want to thank you guys and make sure you hit them hard today.
So to review, you're going to assign your leader. When your butt hits the chair, you know what to do. Your leader's going to help make sure everybody gets to introduce themselves and say that they're a constituent. Then you're going to briefly state why you support sex ed and follow that up with some personal example about why it's important to you. Last thing, this may be the most important thing for the whole visit. You are going to ask them for something. So if they've been a champion on this issue, you are going to ask them to talk to the person who sits next to them. If they have never voted right on sex ed before, you're going to ask them to reconsider. So kind of our ask from our coalition has been, send this bill to the governor this year.